Hey, good morning, everyone. It's your girl, Tanya Lady T, and this is another edition of All Aboard. Let's get on this train. Yes, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is blessed. I hope everybody's feeling well. Well, we made it to Thursday, and we tell the Lord thank you. But anyway, I just wanted to come on this morning and just talk about relationships. Relationships. Now, I want to just let y'all in just a little bit concerning my private life. I just feel like it's important because I am a Christian woman who is being courted. The Lord is preparing me to be a wife. And a lot of people that I have talked to, whether it be my parents, close friends, nobody has a handbook other than we just read the Bible. And areas where God is silent, I think we should be silent or take everything to God in prayer. And there's some things that you keep between you and the Lord, and you just pray about it, really and truly. So just a long story short, before I got into the relationship that I'm in now, I was in a 10-year relationship. I wasn't saved. I hadn't gave my life to Christ and all that, so I was a shacker. I shacked. And the man that I was living with, he was a very good man by the world standards. I mean, he was a good provider, all those type of things. But we suffered a fire, lost everything we had, and so I had to move back home with my mother and he with his. And while I was at my mother's house, my mother never really got into my personal relationships. However, it was like whenever I had to move back home for that short period of time until I could get me another apartment, I guess that was her opportunity, that God used her to really truly renew my mind and let that fire that I suffered be a pinnacle shift in my life. And God began to minister to me like I had never been ministered to before. I mean, I went to church with my family and that type of thing. You know, hit or miss, went every Sunday. Never really understood the thee, the thou, and all those sayings and passages and scriptures in the Word, in the Bible. But there was something about how the church really truly uplifted me. They took me, they embraced me, they helped me out of a difficult situation. Because you have to, well, y'all didn't know, but I was a very prideful person. I mean, I never really had to want for anything because my parents always did for me. Even though I had my son young, again, they were there to help me in that situation. Again, when I was shacking, my, boyfriend back then, he took care of everything, pretty much my paycheck was my paycheck. So I never ever felt what it felt like to not be able to have something or be able to get something, so to speak. So I was vulnerable. I was truly vulnerable and had to rely on other people outside of my family to help me. I mean, when you lose everything you got, you need some help. You need some help. And so God began to humble me. People, again, there was an outpouring. I got dishes. I mean, an outpouring. So that's when I decided to go on out and buy me a house. Okay. So went out there, got approved for a house. I was so excited. And so when I was getting ready to leave to move into my house, my mother looked me dead in my eyes. And she said, Tanya, she said, you know, I've never been in your business. She said, but you don't need to let, you know, your friend move in with you. Because see, my thing was, let me get us back where we were. Okay, you see what I'm saying? We had lost everything. We had been separated. And I loved him. I wanted to be back with him, even though the Lord was pulling me. He was pulling me from that lifestyle, and I didn't even know it. He was pulling me unto him. And so he used, again, my mother to say, she said, you really don't need to. She said, I'm telling you, Tanya, you don't let him move back in with you. Don't do it. Don't do it. So it was so painful to hear that, because like I said, this is a good man. My parents loved him the whole 9 yards, but you know, that was just, my mother had been praying for me. My father had been praying for me. And you know, when you grown, you try not to get deep all into your children's business, because you can wind up really getting your feelings hurt, especially in their personal stuff. And I ain't talking about, you know, they doing stuff that they might do to go to jail or break the law. Yeah, you need to thwart and jump in when you need to. But when my mother said that to me, it stung so bad, because I didn't want to hear that, but I knew she was right. And again, there was something in my spirit that was pulling me to righteousness. God Almighty, I thank you today. So anyway, long story short, of course, as it were, I never let him move back in. I ended the relationship. It was like a cold turkey. Boom. And I gave my life to Christ, and I totally focused in on my relationship. So for almost 10 years, I didn't date. I didn't even go out to lunch with nobody. Not that I felt like I was, you know, because at that point I was weak. Because if I had let another man in, oh yeah, we would have did it. I would have been slinging it out of both pants legs. But the Lord is so good. He made sure that I knew him, that I was falling in love with him, that I wanted to please him. So he totally entangled me in his word. He totally entangled me in doing what his desire was for my life. So, okay, moving ahead, I had went back to college, got my degree, and the awesome man that I'm dating now, he's a retired pastor, and he approached me. And toward you know, the beginning of us dating, you know, I had been praying, Lord, you know, I've had the good looking men, and there's nothing wrong with good looking men. That's not what I'm saying. I had the tall, the fine, the built. I've always, you know, dated a good looking man. And again, it's not about that, but there was a certain criteria that I always looked for when dating a man. But there was something different about this man. I was totally connected to him spiritually. Had nothing to do with looks or anything like that. And he was something different. I mean, he's a man's man. I mean, he know how to tactfully and lovingly say, no, times sit your tail down. No, we ain't finna do that. And I needed that in my life. I needed a head. And so, like I said, as God is preparing me to be a wife, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up, talking about relationships, as Christian who are dating or they're courting, no, we don't have a book to say what's the right way to date, what's the wrong way to date. What we do know is that we take everything to the Lord in prayer. Him and I both, we pray about things. When we are tempted in certain ways, we know how to cut it off, truly. Because your struggle might be fornication while you're dating, but that's not necessarily my struggle, because during those 10 years it was almost like my body reverted back to being a virgin. And the Lord truly, it was like he cut that faucet off. I'll be honest with you, he cut it off. So I've been without for 10 years. So that's not a struggle. It truly is not. And like I said, you have to find it within your relationship when you truly have set yourself aside and consecrated yourself aside for God. And if you truly know that this is the man that the Lord has sent you, but just because you meet somebody and you begin to court and you begin to date, I think people automatically assume if you're courting and you're dating as Christians, you immediately have to get married instantaneously. I mean, y'all been dating for 2 years, when you getting married? That's always the question, because people are gauging their weaknesses. They're thinking, okay, it's better to marry than to burn, but don't put me in that category. I might not be burning. Now, I'm a realist. Do I get little pricklies and things start rising and getting heating and flame? Oh, absolutely. Our bodies were made that way. Our bodies, and God created us to be relational people. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, you got to know what you can stand. You can't be sitting around on the couch with your man and you are, trying to do the right thing as far as in the sight of God, and listen to Luther and all them. No, you can't do it. I mean, you just can't do it. So if that's not your focus, then it's not going to be a stronghold for you. And I'm telling you from what I know from my own self. So anyway, I just wanted to come on this morning and just talk about, I get it all the time. When y'all getting married? When we get ready, when the Lord releases us. I mean, who puts a time stamp on when somebody has to get married? And it's not because I'm trying to be rebellious, because I'm going to be honest with you. I love my companionship. I love my fiance. I love him. I really do. But there's another part of Tanya. I love my freedom. I love that we can come together, we can go out, we can have, and we can talk, we can watch movies and all. But I'm going to be honest with you. I love the fact that I can go home and there's nobody there. I can do what I want to do. I love that aspect. And so it took me a lifetime to get to a place where I have a true relationship with God. Why am I going to run from it? And like I said, is he the one? I truly believe he is. But when God releases us both to say, okay, we want to live together as one, then it'll happen. And I'm not going to let anybody, whether it be my friends, whether it be my family, whether it be, people at church, they can't put a time stamp and say, okay, you've been dating for 6 months, you need to be getting married. No, but who says that? I mean, I don't see anywhere where the Lord talks about that, you've got to do this, A, B, and C, and you've got to, after a year of dating, then yeah, y'all should be. No, that's what society, I truly believe, that's what society puts on people. I have friends now that have met men, they begin to date those men, and they're Christians, and then less than a year they're married, and then the next year they're divorced, because they really didn't get an opportunity to learn that person. They really didn't get an opportunity to learn what they liked. I was just watching, I watch some of the reality shows, and I like watching the Real Housewives of Atlanta because I'm from Atlanta. And, Portia, who's married to Cordell Stewart, after all these years of marriage, she just not finding out. He don't want her to she can't do one or the other. He don't want a nanny. He want her to raise that child. She can't have a career and be a mom. He ain't studying that. Cause he asked her straight up. And so, when you don't discuss those things, your feelings get hurt. So it just takes time. It takes time to learn a person. And if a person dates for 10 years or whatever, and you're sitting back thinking, oh, you know they having sex, you know they fornicating and everything. That might be the case, or it might not be the case. But don't gauge people on their weaknesses based on yours. That might be a struggle for you. That might be a struggle for you, but don't visit your struggles on other people. Don't automatically assume, oh, you know they banging, you know the Lord gonna curse them or whatever. But you don't know that. You don't know that. You can't say that. Yeah, it might be true for most couples, absolutely, but it's not true for all. Especially, like I said, when two people are in agreement. See, that's the other thing too. When two people are in agreement, the power of agreement. If y'all come together and say, look, you know, I haven't been with a man in 10 years. You haven't been with a woman in 5 years. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do we hold hands? Do we cuddle? Absolutely, yes. But then, like I said, you have to know what you can stand. You can't be listening to Luther butt naked on the couch. You can't do it. So anyway, again, I just wanted to stop in real quickly and give you a little privacy, you know, because I know it's a source of questions for a lot of Christians. How do I date? What do we do? What are the boundaries? When two people are in agreement about something, you go to the Lord in prayer and let Him be the dictator of your relationship. Let Him guide you to all truth as to what you can and cannot do. And as a woman, I have to be very careful not to be too provocative, because I don't want that. This man is a retired pastor, so his discernment is so keen, it's almost scary. I can be thinking a thing and he'll speak it, because I'm gonna be honest with you, as a woman, we have those little girl tendencies, and he'll call that mess right out. Not in the ugly way, but it's almost like, my God. So when you know you've got a man like that, connected to God like that, you can't play little games. You can't do none of that stuff. No. So, you know, and he's an older man. So again, with that, he's all man. No games and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not a game player either, but you know, like I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. We women, we like to have our little way. We like to be a little kind of spoiled. But you know, and he'll cater to that sometime. But then for the most part, he said, oh, where's the queen? Where's the woman at? I need her to stand to attention. You know, and when you're dating a man at a certain age and a certain caliber, they don't deal with foolishness. No, they don't. So anyway, I just wanted to give y'all a little bird's eye snapshot into my private life. And like I said, I know those are type questions that we as Christian women and men ask. And the only thing I can tell you is you and your partner need to come to an agreement on some things. And the important thing too is to pray about it. I mean, you can't be ashamed to go before the Lord and lock hands with your companion and say, Lord, help us, because we're struggling. We're wanting to bang, 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 bang. We're wanting to do it, but Lord, help us, because we want to stay holy and consecrated before you. And when you and your partner do that, God honors that, and He will help you keep that kind of stuff on the back burner, and you find other things to fulfill your life. You really do. So anyway, and like I said, whatever happens, sometimes that's something that you have to keep between you and the Lord, and just take it to God in prayer. You just have to take it to God in prayer. So anyway, thanks for stopping by my channel. God bless you, and may the peace of the Lord be with you. Bye.